Hello. Balance sheet and P&L statements, which is most important for any of the organization, is normally being prepared outside the SAP system when we are running our entire business operations in SAP. So this is one of the most important questions which is being asked by many of my clients, many of my customers. Sarath, how can we create this statement in SAP? The answer is very simple, and now today I am going to share the nitty-gritties and the solution as how we can get this complete balance sheet and P&L from SAP system without any ABAP and customization to it. So let's see how it is being done. Balance sheet and profit and loss statement. So why it is required? The requirement is very clear because balance sheet is one of the most important statement for any company to say yes, what is the financial statements of our company in terms of the asset, liability, profit and loss. Normally, if the organization is creating this balance sheet and P&L from the SAP system, then the things are very important from the point of view of the value of that organization and the trust and transparency what it is required for the outsiders as well. If it is a listed company, if you are a listed company, then all the more it is very important if you are preparing this balance sheet and P&L directly from the SAP system. As I explained, transparency of the data. So once it is being prepared from SAP system, transparency is at the top of the top. Now let's make a comparison of the statements which is prepared in SAP and statement which is prepared in Excel. So let's first understand the financial statements which we prepare in Excel. So the Excel financial statements are also linked to the trial balance and the data file which is required, right? At the time, the Excel file becomes very heavy and take lot of time in processing because there are a lot of Excel formula linkages are there. Then always there is a risk of mismatch of the numbers in SAP trial balance versus the reported Excel balance sheet and P&L, because in Excel balance sheet and P&L we sometimes make lot of adjustments which is not at all reflecting in our regular financial books of accounts of the SAP. Always depend on a person who is doing that balance sheet and P&L. So if that person is on leave, then we cannot explain that nitty-gritty of the accounts to a required auditor or to the outsiders if it is required for the purpose of statutory reporting. Now understand the SAP way of working of the balance sheet and P&L. In SAP, we have exact same balance sheet and P&L the way it is required for a statutory purpose, with all the schedules, with all the breakup, everything is there. Maintenance of the GL account is also very simple. Unlike the standard SAP provides you the maintenance of the GL in the financial statement version, that is FSB. Here we are not using the concept of financial statement version or FSB for the balance sheet and P&L. Here we are using a simple GL grouping concept. That GL grouping concept can be easily accepted and edited or modified by our finance team only. And we have given a feature of missing GL identification as well. While we are creating a balance sheet P&L, the feature of missing GL identification is there. Suppose if you created a new GL and that new GL is not maintained in our financial GL grouping, then automatically the system throw a GL number which is not maintained, and subsequently you can go and maintain that GL in a quick 1 or 2 minutes of time. Then all these balance sheet and statements and annexures are easily downloadable in a single click in an Excel file as well if you want to report that Excel file to the auditor or somewhere to the outsider. Now let us understand how to prepare that in SAP. First of all, as I explained, we need to group all the GL accounts as per the financial statement for the balance sheet and P&L. Then develop that entire report for the balance sheet as per schedule 6 or as per the statutory requirement of Ind AS and everything. We can create the entire mapping of that format of balance sheet P&Ls and with required numbering of the annexures, with header and footers, everything we can create in this report painter, and we can get it ready for you. Then we can check the values of these things in SAP and with the trial balance and in the SAP format. Then we can run the reports and balance sheet and P&L with schedules. Now let me show you how these balance sheet and P&L statements look like in SAP and how can we use these things for checking the annexure, go up to the GL level, go up to the missing GL functionality. Everything is there in SAP. We have built, this is basically a solution we have built based on the need and requirement for our customer. So let us see that. So this is the first page of our balance sheet. You can say the equity and liabilities. This is the asset part. Okay, so the asset and liability will be reconciled with each other. Then this is the P&L part. So this way you can get the entire statement right. So here if you see in the below, we have given this option of checking whether my balance sheet and P&L are matching with each other or not. So in the check balance sheet, check P&L, the balance is coming 0, 0. So it means all the GL accounts are mapped properly in the GL grouping for balance sheet and P&L. Now let us see if we get some want to know the detail of the annexures. Say for example, here if I want to see my annexures for the equity capital, so here if I just double click on that, then I can go up to the share capital, then I can go up to the share capital things, and then I can go up to the GL account for that. So this is how I can check the balance sheet and annexure and the GL account as well for that particular annexure. Now let us understand the missing GL functionality, how it works. So in the missing GL functionality, if some new GLs are created, then in this check balance sheet, check P&L section, some balances will appear. Once those balances are there, then there is a separate report which will show you which GL has those balances in the balance sheet section or in the P&L section. So here you can see 1875 and 44138 balances are visible in this particular report, same report, and then we can go and maintain those balances in the respective grouping, just maintaining like a simple way of maintenance. So friends, this is how the entire solution of balance sheet and P&L can be configured and can be utilized in SAP in a quick time. Maximum we can develop this for you in 2 to 3 weeks time. In a very reasonable commercial we can do that. So if you need to inquire this, please follow this inquiry number and put your inquiry in this email ID. We will be happy to help you. Thank you.